Hello and welcome, I am Cuff Me Up, and this is everything you need to know about the Origins of Madness update. I know this video is a bit late, but yeah, I had some stuff pop up throughout the week that delayed it. Anyway, first, what you need all we really got with this update were 2 new boss fights. We have the Worm, which is for the super hardcore raid guilds that'll it's something I don't care about. And then there's the Marionette boss fight, which is actually pretty enjoyable, and I'm sad that that's the temporary one. I wish the Worm was the temporary one, but yeah. Anyway, let's get the less interesting one out of the way first. The Worm boss fight will start at the first side visual waypoint, right over here in the Bloodtide Coast. Now, it'll start at every odd hour, normally. Well, if you got a high population server, there's a big Zerg there, although you're gonna have to be careful, because if it is... Well, actually, I imagine that with most attempts, it's just a toxic attitude if you're not following exactly what everyone else wants you to do. Because it is supposed to be for the super hardcore people. You gotta follow orders exactly, or else you're screwing everyone else over, and just... not fun stuff. Anyway, that'll happen at every odd hour for your server. For example, my server time right now is 12:48, so it's actually gonna start soon, but I don't want to play that. Plus, nobody will be there. I'm on Maguma, so... I mean, with the first couple attempts, we did have plenty of people there, but with time, people just said, fuck it. And, because it's not that fun. It's just not that fun of a boss fight. Anyway, right above the waypoint, 3 vigil people will pop up. They're all Azurans. They'll fight, and then they'll go separate ways. You follow whichever one you want to whichever wormhead they lead to, and you can get an achievement by helping each Azuran. So you gotta like attempt it 3 times. And all you gotta do for the achievement is help that Azuran get to that wormhead. So it's pretty easy. Well, if it's just getting on the right server, and then it's more just getting the guy there, or the Azuran there, and then you're good. And yeah, that's it for the Worm boss fight. Next is the Marionette boss fight. They've changed the map a little over here in Lorner's Pass. In the False River Valley, there's a new point of interest, the Marionette's Landing, and a new waypoint, the False River waypoint. Now, every time I've tried to go into details on this fight, it just ends up making the video way too long and just way too complicated. Plus, I keep wanting to redo the video because I'm just like, did I say that wrong? So, just look up a guide on it if you're really worried about the fight, because, well, some people say they've encountered a more toxic attitude, and occasionally I have seen a dick in map chat just say like, lane 2 sucks, when in fact they should be saying, okay, we need to reinforce lane 2. Because normally there will be like one really packed lane, then all the others just kind of medium. Well, I guess that's what matters, what server you're on. And yeah, I enjoy this fight because I feel it's very random friendly, and actually, I'll go to my opinions afterwards. Now, those are the 2 boss fights you need to participate in for the Living Story, and then you can do a little Living Story segment where it actually tells you story and dialogue, and you get to see fun little interactions between the characters over here at the Sanctum Harbor waypoint. Just head right about here, and you should see a Living Story star. Just run under it and start it up. It has a lot of dialogue. I really like it because it introduces an awesome little Asuran named Tamini. No, not Tamini. Taimi? Something like that. She's a very interesting character, and I don't want to spoil anything, so that's all I'll say. Now, after you play through that Living Story segment, you'll notice there are these energy probes everywhere. Now, I'll tell you what to do with them in a moment. First, you want to head to the Durman Priory waypoint, head south to this cave entrance, head north past the worms to this cave, And then when it forks like this, go down this thing here, and you will get to Scarlet's secret lair entrance. And just by interacting with this, or just by getting here, I think, you will get an achievement that will give you 10 energy core components. Now, need to collect 50 of these energy core components, and you get like 3, well, the most I've gotten from any energy probe is 3. And the only way to get the energy core component is to run around the map, breaking these energy probes. All of them are defended by either Toxic Alliance, just minions of Scarlet. Random minions of Scarlet are defending all the energy probes. You defeat them, you break the energy probe, you collect the components, then you move on to the next one. And so on and so forth. It currently looks like not a lot of people are doing them lately, so it shouldn't be too hard to collect the core components just running on all the maps. And they are spread everywhere. If you have been paying attention at the map during the whole winter stay thing, you'll notice that the probes are kind of everywhere. So yeah, just hop from map to map, look for those little icons, and then fight away. Now after you've collected 50, you double click on that stack and you will create an actual energy core. And then from there, you can enter Scarlet's lair. Okay, we're gonna enter it, but I'll try not to show anything spoilery. All you get to see is the door. Now, actually, once you're in here, you'll notice all these different chests. Now, in order to interact with these chests, you need to get ciphers. And you make these ciphers using the marionette fight. Different types of minions of Scarlet will pop up and they'll start... well, they'll help attack these gates you have to defend. And all you have to do is kill them and pick up the loot they drop, and you'll get different code fragments that'll each make a cipher. Now when it comes to the Watchwork ones, those are the easiest to get because your whole goal while doing the marionette fight is to kill Watchwork champions, and they are pretty much guaranteed to draw a couple. I can't speak. For the Molten Code Fragments, just kill Molten Alliance people. For the Toxic, just kill Toxic Alliance people. And for the Aether Blade, just kill Aether Blades. Anyway, the one that might get people worried, or, you know, you might think, oh, how do I collect these? The Scarlet Lockbox Code Fragments, you can't really gain them from killing a specific enemy. I think they drop kind of randomly. The main way you're going to be getting these code fragments, the Scarlet Lockbox Code Fragments, is from opening the chests themselves. That's going to be your biggest source of the Scarlet Lockbox Fragments. So just get a cipher of each type, then using your energy core, come into the lair, open each of those, and you should have enough to make the Scarlet Lockbox Code Fragment. Yeah, double click that, and you make the cipher, then you can open our lockbox. And with each lockbox you open, you will get a different journal fragment, as you can see. Now, they won't be on the tables, so you'll actually get them out of the chest the first time you open it. And after you get all these, you double-click on any one of the fragments, and it'll create Scarlet's journal. And yeah, just double-click on that. It'll start up this fun little dialogue voiceover sequence she has. Well, it's not really fun. It's just, you get to see into the psyche of Scarlet, and just kind of what's going through her head lately, and it's pretty interesting, and it's got me excited for what they're going to add next. And along with that, you will get access to a code for opening that console right over there, which will reveal even more stuff that I don't want to spoil for you. Now, in order to get the code for the console, I think it'll be pretty obvious, but just in case, in between each dialogue box while you're using the journal, you'll notice a random letter is capitalized out of place, like in the middle of a word or in the middle of a sentence where it just doesn't fit. Each of those letters is the passcode. From the first fragment to the fifth fragment, just look for the out of place capitalized letter, remember it, and remember the order they're in. And there you go. If you have the code, you can access the console and see what the console shows you. And that's about it for the update. When it comes to the living story meta, and achievements, it's mainly just doing the marionette fight really well, and helping each of the Azurans during the worm fight. And that's pretty much all your achievements. Like, that's killing each type of the wardens. Again, look up a guide. I'll put a guide to the marionette fight in the description, so you can just look at that and then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Whenever I try and explain the marionette fight myself, the video takes too long, and I've already said this. Anyway, yeah, all this is just doing the marionette fight really well, and there you go. Mine was mainly completed from dailies, considering I was playing this thing from day one, and all it is fighting the marionette fight every day, pretty much. Or the worm, but look, there's just a small amount of the player base actually fighting the worm, and that's like the super hardcore MLG players, which I'm not one of, because that's just not fun, in my opinion. Okay, now for my thoughts. I've already got all the info out of the way, so if that's all you wanted, and you don't want to hear my opinions on everything, I guess you can go. Anyway, to everyone who stayed, first of all, thank you. And now to say my opinions. When it comes to the marionette fight, I really like it, because, well, I guess the one problem that seems to be occurring every now and then is assholes just pop up and they just start calling out lanes or people who ended up failing their segment. But for the most part, those people can just fuck off, and for the most part they do. They go to higher populated servers because they want a higher success rate, and you don't have to deal with them anymore. But the reason I like it is because it feels like, well, when it succeeds, it feels like everyone deserves it. Because, well, first of all, this boss fight doesn't have a bullshit timer. That's a big problem with all the hardcore fights later, lately, is I feel they're all just most of the difficulty, if not all of it, is just because of the timer. The fight itself isn't that difficult, it's just, it takes a while, and the difficulty is, oh, you took too long, I guess you lost, and it's just like, oh, fuck you. But with this, you kind of control the timer to a certain degree. Like, if you let too many champs through, the bar that's filling up will just, you know, it's entirely the lane's fault for messing it up. You know, everyone's got to be working well in each lane, so it has that level of coordination, but you don't need to all be in a team speak because it's basically get in a lane and defend it. Plus, when you get split into the small groups of 4 on those platforms up there, everyone there who's participating in those deserves, well, if they beat it, you know, that group deserves to continue. They deserve that level of reward. You know, for whatever that award was. One second, my fan's making weird noises. Oh, just one moment. Sorry about that. Anyway, I really enjoy this fight. I feel that when it does win, although I haven't been part of that because a lane always fails, or a couple lanes always fail, it's like the whole Zerg deserves it once you finally beat it, because it does kind of test everyone's skill, because it separates them into the smaller 4 groups. You're already separated into 5 different things. It's just, I really enjoy it, because it feels like when you beat it, you deserve it. Plus, you already get a reward just from one lane doing well. If one lane does well, they bump up the reward. If another one does well, they bump up the reward. And it's just very well built, and it saddens me that this is the temporary fight. I wish this was the permanent one and the worm was the temporary one. Because, I mean, people are only really going to care about that to fight and be like, oh, world's first, we beat it first. And then no one's going to care anymore, just like with Tequatl. There will just be those very specific off-guilds made to fight those bosses, and then nobody else will play them because nobody else cares. I mean, the reward isn't good enough to go through all that hassle when you could easily just go do something else. So yeah, really enjoy the marionette fight. Worm fight, I've only participated in a couple times. I couldn't care less. I think it's just boring, dull, and I don't like it. Anyway, when it comes to the living story segment, you know, with all the dialogue between characters, I really enjoyed that. It fleshes out the characters a bit. Plus, it kind of confirms a suspicion that two characters were kinda gonna get together. The people were speculating and stuff. Plus, I love the secret lair because there's so much here for people, for fans who know the lore and stuff, to just start speculating and stuff. It's awesome. So yeah, this is a pretty good update. I can't wait to see what they do next. Again, I'm just waiting for Primordius. You know what, I'm going to show you a little spoiler right now. I'm sorry, but on the roof of Scarlet's lair, she drew like a big old dragon. And it's red. And I'm hoping this is Primordius, but it might also be the jungle dragon that I believe was in an interview a while back that's haunting Scarlet. I really hope it's Primordius, though, because I don't know. I just want to fight a dragon. I just want us to fight the dragons. As much as people are saying, oh, they're uninteresting villains because they're forces of nature, essentially, I find those villains can be done very well, or they can be done. Well, one of my favorite villains. Well, it's not one of my favorite. Just a good villain can always be the villain, just made of pure evil. You can't reason with them. You can't mess with them. They will just kill. And I guess that kind of sounded like the... No, that doesn't sound like the Joker. Anyway, so yeah, when there's just like big evil forces of nature like this that just corrupt and consume, as much as people just want to say, oh, those are boring, in my opinion, they're fun. They're like the perfect villain. Because there's no reasoning with it, and it's just, I want more dragons! I want to fight another dragon! I mean, that Zaitan fight was kind of bullshit and really anticlimactic, but if we kill a dragon in the living story, that'll be badass. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It's a really good update. And I think that covers everything. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please just consider subscribing, and I will see you all next time.